Okay, welcome to a new episode of Nate's MMA Corner. I'm Nate, and if you watch my show, you're in my corner. Today's episode is a post-fight show for UFC Fight Night, Lineker versus McDonald. And this whole entire event, top to bottom, from the first prelim to the main event, stole the show. There's really no bad fights on this entire event. This event blew away UFC 200. I mean, in terms of just the way the fights panned out, like in terms of finishes and you know, fighters going for it and all that stuff. It may not have the names on it, but like, you know, UFC 200 had big names, but then there's, you know, a lot of decisions, and then there's a lot of fights where it's like, oh man, you know, I wish this guy won instead of that guy. And this one, it's like, it was pretty much, for the most part, let's see. Oh man. Yeah, pretty much everyone I wanted to win won, except for the main event. But even the main event's not that big of a deal. I kind of like them both, but you know, I preferred the other guy. But yeah, this whole entire event was just top to bottom, great finishes, great fights, people going for it. So yeah, there's a post-fight rundown of the main card, and let's get started. So the main event was a bantamweight clash with John Lineker and Michael McDonald. Now John Lineker, he was a stud at flyweight, but he had trouble making weight, so he had to go to bantamweight. I was not expecting him to perform this well. Michael McDonald has fought for UFC gold at bantamweight years ago, and he's still a young guy, still has a lot of talent left. But yeah, Michael McDonald made a big mistake by staying up against the cage. He should have got out of the pocket, away from the cage immediately. Yeah, he allowed himself to get trapped and get taken out by John Lineker. So yeah, John Lineker won this fight by first round KO punches. It was a great finish for John Lineker, and a big win, and it definitely moves him up the bantamweight rankings. Then in the co-main event, in the lightweight division, we had Tony Ferguson versus Lando Venata. And man, you know what? I was scared with this fight because you never know what to expect with a guy making his UFC debut who's 8-0, trains out a good camp in Jackson Winklejohn. Yeah, I knew he may go for it, and he may not be scared, and he almost knocked out Tony Ferguson, who was ranked number 3 going into this fight in the lightweight division. But Tony eventually worked his jab later in the first round, and then throughout the second round, and things started looking in favor of Tony Ferguson. And then he gets, in the second round, midway into the second round, a submission Darce choke. And he got a Performance of the Night award for this fight, and yeah, it was phenomenal. He got a bonus for this fight. And yeah, I say you got to give Tony Ferguson the title shot at this point. 8 fights, 8 wins in a row, and he's been consistently getting bonuses. He got bonuses in his last 4 fights. And yeah, Tony Ferguson is the real deal. So just give him the title shot. I think it'll be fireworks, him and Eddie Alvarez going for the lightweight title. Yeah, then you had a middleweight clash with Tim Boesch and Josh Simon. And yeah, I picked Josh Simon in this fight. I thought his cardio would play in his favor, and he would finish Tim Boesch in the second or third round after Tim Boesch maybe gets a little tired. But oh boy, was I wrong. Tim Boesch uses heavy hands in the second round, knocks out Josh Simon, TKO punches. It was a great fight. Tim Boesch definitely needed this win bad, because he had so many losses going into this fight. So had he not won this fight, it could have been sayonara for Tim Boesch, the Barbarian. Then in the heavyweight division, we had Daniel Omielanczuk versus Oleksiy Oleinik. And yeah, this was the Polish guy versus the Russian guy, Daniel being the Polish guy. And man, it was a decision majority. This was probably my least favorite fight on the card, on the main card, and that's rare for me to say that about a heavyweight fight. But it just kind of dragged on. There's some grappling involved. There's a bit of lay and pray for Daniel, and you know, yeah, the judges got it right. Decision majority for Daniel. He got the better positions. He landed some good ground strikes. Yeah, this was an okay fight. It wasn't bad, but yeah, it just plus all the other fights on this event, were so exciting that it's hard to live up. Then in the welterweight division, we had Keita Nakamura versus Kyle Noak, and Kyle Noak, the Aussie from season 11 Ultimate Fighter. I thought he was going to come in here and he's just going to work on Keita. And yeah, let's see. This was submission rear naked choke round 2 with 1 second left in round 2. Kyle Noak in the second round, though, he was landing some good strikes and could have possibly knocked out Keita had there just been more time and more momentum built up, and maybe he started more at a faster pace early on in the round. Yeah, Kyle Noak, I think he'll look back at this match and say to himself, I could have won this fight. This was a winnable fight, and I think he will learn a lot from this loss. So I think Kyle Noak will definitely come back bigger, better, stronger with this fight. But yeah, Keita Nakamura, submission rear naked choke. I mean, impressive with 1 second left in the second round and a name opponent in Kyle Noak. So good win for Keita. Then to kick off the main card in the flyweight division, we had Louis Smolka versus Ben Nguyen. And yeah, I guess that's how you say his name. Then yeah, this was second round TKO. Punches and elbows, and yeah, he was just laying a beatdown on Ben Louis Smolka. He was getting dominant positions. I believe he got a full mount in the first or second round, and he was just teeing off, and then Ben was moving around to get out of the really bad positions, and he was simply just moving from one bad position and then momentarily being okay, then ending up in another bad position. But I mean, Ben was putting up as much defense as he could, but yeah, he just got outclassed by Louis Smolka. And yeah, Louis Smolka, he's on, I believe, a 4-fight win streak, and he's looking really good in the flyweight division. I say definitely put this guy up there in the rankings and put him up against some top rank flyweights as the next fight. Maybe put him up against a number 5 through 10 in the rankings, and then if he wins that, maybe a title shot or a number 1 contender fight. So he's definitely either title shot now or 1 or 2 wins away from a title shot. I mean, because Demetrius Johnson has plowed through those top 5 guys, so you kind of have to give him 6 through 10, and Louis Smolka is right up there, so I think Louis Smolka is closer to a title shot than most people will give him credit for. Yeah, that wraps up the post-fight show for UFC Fight Night Lineker versus McDonald. Stay tuned for my next episode, which will be a pre-fight show for Holm versus Shevchenko. Until then, see ya.